In Skyrim, you can tackle combat in a number of ways. You could be a heavy weapon wielding orc bashing skulls in. You could be a silent assassin lurking in the shadows one-shotting enemies with your bow. Or you can pick one of the many schools of magic if you're into that. But what if you wanted to avoid combat and not kill anything? Can you beat Skyrim as a pacifist? For this run, I'll be picking the High Elf as they start with more Magicka and the Fury spell, which we'll be using for the most of this playthrough. A dragon attacked Helgen and I ran like my life depended on it, because well it did. I went with Hogdar, the only person who showed me compassion, watched him murder some Stormcloaks, and now I can show you why I wanted the Fury spell, by using it on one of these Stormcloaks and watching them turn on each other. The Fury spell causes enemies to attack anything near them, even their own allies, meaning I can get a group of enemies to kill each other without it counting as my kill. Throughout the run, I'll be checking the combat stats to make sure that I don't have any kills. After escaping Helgen, it's straight down to Whiterun to warn the Jarl of the dragon coming his way. As thanks, he makes me his errand boy and sends me on a fetch quest to get a tablet. In protest, I trashed his hall, only no one seemed to care, so I headed for Bleak Falls Barrow. Inside there are a few bandits and draugrs. Fury will handle the bandits, but it doesn't work on draugrs, so I'll be using the traps to get rid of them. I found Arvel and punched him down from the web, then followed him, hoping to see him get flung by the trap overhead, only to see him get murdered by some draugr. I avenged Arvel by using the trap on the draugr, and took the golden claw from Arvel's still warm corpse. After solving Baby's first puzzle, it was time to face off against the draugr overlord, and by face off I mean run away and lead him into a trap. With the tablet in my hands, it was time to head back to Whiterun to return it. While in Whiterun, a dragon attacked a guard tower and the Jarl wanted me to use the dragon experience I gained in Helgen to help fight it, so I was off to the tower and watched as brave soldiers were burnt to a crisp right in front of me. By the time Irilith killed the dragon, there wasn't a single guard left. Everyone was so impressed with how well I ran from the dragon, so much so that some old dudes on a mountain invited me to their house, and who was I to decline? But before I left, the Jarl wanted to give me a companion for my journey. Unfortunately, I can't use companions for this run, as any time they kill something, it counts as my kill. So I passed Lydia without saying a word and left for High Hrothgar. On the way, I was chased by a pack of wolves which gave me a rock joint and a bear. I didn't even know rock joint was a thing in this game until now. The effects don't really bother us anyway, so it's no big deal. Once I made it to High Hrothgar, the old men wanted me to shout at them. Must be some kind of kink, I don't know. They then taught me more words to shout at them, and tasked me with retrieving their horn. Off I was to Ustengrad, to get the old man's horn. There were plenty of draugr inside, and not many traps, so I just chose to put one foot in front of the other at a fast pace and run from my problems like always. Once at the end of the dungeon, a note had to replace the horn, telling me to meet the horn stealer in Riverwood. The horn stealer's name was Delphine, and she wanted me to kill a dragon with her, so that's what I did. I had bought the Healing Hands and Courage spells to help Delphine in this fight, but they weren't needed, because the dragon decided that he wanted a bigger challenge and picked a fight with a giant and his two oversized dogs. Needless to say, that didn't go well, and the dragon was dead in seconds. Then, Delphine asked me to sneak into the Falmor embassy, but all I heard was party, so I said yes. I gave Malborn pretty much everything I owned and left for the party. Once there, I waited for a distraction and snuck to the back. Now it was time to take on the Falmor, probably the toughest enemy so far. The plan of attack was the same as always: cast Fury and run. I cast Fury, shut the door and listened to the consequences of my actions. But because Fury costs so much to cast, I decided to just run ahead, ignoring enemies. This was a mistake. I watched as Malborn got murdered, got cornered by about 5 enemies and died many times, until I realised I just had to read the book I looted, and then escaped. I told Delphine what I found, and she asked me to find a man named Esbern in Riften. The game wants you to talk to Brynjolf to help you find Esbern, but this is just a way to introduce the player to the Thieves Guild. So I ignored him and went straight into the rat ways. I thought my usual tactic of just running past everything was going to work here, and well, it kinda did. I made it to Esbern and convinced him to come with me, ran back out and went to Riverwood to talk to Delphine. This is when I checked my combat stats and saw that I had 4 kills. The problem is, the game forces Esbern as your companion, meaning anyone he kills counts as your kill. So I reloaded a save and made all the enemies fight each other with Fury, until there was one left and ran to Esbern. Then I realised that the game spawns enemies in the right ways once you get Esbern, meaning killing all the enemies was useless. I tried casting Calm on Esbern, so he wouldn't attack anyone, but that didn't work. There was no way I was going to be able to cast Fury on everyone before Esbern got to them, so I reverted back to default settings and ran hoping for the best. I think there being less enemies this time actually helped, as I made it back to Riverwood with 0 kills. Once back at Riverwood, Esbern decided we needed a history lesson and told us to find Aldrin's Wall. The wall told us that a shout is needed to bring down Aldrin, and there's only one person we know that knows anything about shouts, so we went back to High Hrothgar to ask the old dudes if they knew anything about the shout that we were looking for. They didn't, but they did teach me another shout that would help me get further up the mountain to someone who did. Pacifist told us we'd need an Elder Scroll in order to learn the shout we needed. The game tries to introduce you to another side quest at the College of Winterhold, but if you've already played the game, you'll know that the info you need to find the Elder Scroll is just behind the college. The Elder Scroll we need is located in the Dwemer Ruins, so that's where we're heading. Inside there are just way too many enemies for me to even consider using Fury on. I don't even know if it would work on them because they're robots. I didn't even try it. So I just ran through the entire area, got to the end and made sure the Centurion killed the 2 bandits. One of them has a shield that will come in handy for the rest of the run. Once I got the shield, it was time to press a few buttons, retrieve the Elder Scroll, go back to the throat of the world, read the scroll, and learn the Dragon Run shout. Now that we have the Dragon Run shout, it's time for the fight with Aldrin. This is where the shield from earlier is going to help. The shield causes bleed for 5 seconds after a bash, and if the bleed kills an enemy, then it doesn't count as your kill for some reason. So that's what I did for this fight. This took a long time. Pacifist didn't really help much, but after multiple boots to Aldrin's snoot, he fled for Sovereign Guard. Next I had to convince General Tullius and Ulfric Stormcloak to come to the peace treaty in order to help us capture a dragon, so it could take me to Aldrin's resting place. This part is just really boring, there's not much else to say. Once the peace treaty was over, I left to Dragonreach, used a shout to call a dragon, captured it, and forced it to be my personal Uber. At Skuldarfin there was a dragon and lots of Draugr, so I just ran through until I got to a puzzle. I tried doing the puzzle while running from several Draugr, but it just wasn't working. Then I tried casting Fury on the Draugr and realised that it doesn't work on them, and remembered that I could just kill them with my shield. With them all dead, I did the puzzle and was after Sovereign Guard. In Sovereign Guard, I had to prove my worth to Sun, to gain entrance to the Hall of Valor. I did this by poking holes in his chest with my shield and watching him bleed out. But not before he had a chance to bonk me on the head repeatedly. Once inside the hall, I spoke with the heroes, ran back outside to clear the mist, and began the final battle. All I did for this fight was use Dragon Run to poke Aldrin with my shield. The heroes really did all of the damage. Unfortunately, during the final battle, Aldrin is a protected NPC, meaning that the player has to get the final blow to kill him. Not even the bleed damage from the shield can fix this, meaning that this will count as a kill. There is a way around this though. If you cast any summoning spell under Aldrin, it will slightly push him. Getting the aim right can be tricky, but I found that if you stand behind his wing and cast looking straight down, it will move him forward. And with this you can push him off a waterfall on the right side, and then load warp to get out of Sovereign Guard. The quest will stay active, but Aldrin will be gone, so technically he's dead. Doing it this way will mean that you will have 0 kills on your combat stats, and you would have beaten this challenge. I would have done this, but I didn't want to use exploits, so I just poked him with my shield one last time, and almost beat Skyrim as a pacifist. Overall, this run wasn't that hard to get through. The hardest part was trying to make sure Esbern didn't kill anyone. For most enemies, you can usually just run, use traps, or let someone else deal with them for you. I really thought Fury was going to be needed more throughout the run, but it really wasn't necessary. Anyway, I finished this playthrough at level 5, and most of those levels came at the end of the game, which has got me thinking about doing a level 1 challenge sometime soon. I'm not sure how possible it is to do without exploits, but I'll give it a shot. Let me know in the comments if you'd want to see that. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and check out one of my other challenge videos. See you next time.